Social Studies class for grade 8. Today, inshallah, we're going to learn about lesson 5, which is medieval culture and technology. In this lesson, we're going to learn about the architecture and history of France. Let's see the new vocabulary. Notre Dame Cathedral, Paris, medieval architecture, flying buttresses, and vaults. In group, discuss what you know about France. Take notes here. So, I want each one of you to write the information that they know about, some information that they know about France. For me, whenever I hear the name of the country France, I remember the French Revolution. I remember the Palace of Versailles. Also, I remember the Louvre Museum. Those things are connected to the name France in my mind. Let's read the text. Paris, past and present. Okay. Paris is one of the oldest cities in France and is home of several great monuments. It's sometimes called the City of Lights. Let me show you a video first. It's gonna make the text easier for you to imagine it. Let's watch this.
Talk about a big transformation. Versailles started off as a country village, but now it's one of Paris's most affluent suburbs. It's most famous for being the site of the Palace of Versailles, a royal chateau with strong roots in French history, as it was a major hub for political power for Louis XIV, starting in the late 1600s. It's a grand building with multiple appartements, salon or room, and more, with the Hall of Mirrors being especially notable. While the palace was converted into a museum in the mid-1830s, it's also now used for political functions. Number 4. L'Arc de Triomphe. This landmark just screams Paris. One of the most famous and most distinctive monuments in the city, L'Arc de Triomphe has got roots from both the French Revolution and the Napoleonic Wars, and was commissioned by Napoleon following France's victory at Austerlitz. With its neoclassical Roman design, representations of academic sculptures, and an eternal flame accompanying the tomb of the unknown soldier, it's definitely something not to be missed, especially if you're near the western end of the Champs-Élysées. Number 3. Notre-Dame de Paris. Located in Paris's 4th arrondissement, this Catholic cathedral is one of the biggest of its kind in the world. Not only is the exterior of the cathedral breathtaking, the interior boasts all the makings of a classic Gothic church. Even the basement has a fascinating history, as it has an archaeological crypt to protect historical ruins. This is remarkable considering the cathedral was vandalized during the French Revolution. Fortunately, actions were undertaken to restore it in the 1840s, and it's still quite a sight to see. Number 2. The Louvre. There's not much to say about this museum that you haven't already heard. It's one of the most distinctively Parisian landmarks and one of the most well-known museums in the world. Calling Paris's first arrondissement home, the massive institution houses a collection of works ranging from antiquities, sculptures, paintings, and more. But it is of course most famous for being the home of the Mona Lisa. With thousands of pieces of art, it's no wonder the Louvre is the most visited museum on the planet. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Says Paris quite like this. Or, nothing says Paris quite like the Eiffel Tower. Nothing says Paris quite like this. Built in 1889 for that year's World's Fair by engineer Gustave Eiffel, it's become not only the world's most visited paid monument, but also an icon of the country.
So, we saw here in the video some of the attractions that we can see or find them in Paris. Now, let's read about them. The first attraction is the Palace of Versailles. It was once the home of the King Louis XIV of France. Inside the palace, the ceilings are painted and vaulted. Vaulted means that it's what? It's curved. There are crystal chandeliers and gold statues and trim. Outside the building is a long rectangular shaped building with beautiful gardens. One of the famous monuments is called the Arc of Triumph. What's the meaning of this? It means victory, which is the end of the Avenue Champs Elysees. As you're studying French, I think you're better than me in pronouncing this. Anyway, the Arc of Triumph was built in honor of Napoleon, a famous French general and dictator. It looks like a decorated entryway on a long street. The Eiffel Tower is one of the most visited monuments in Paris with more than 7 million visitors each year. The Eiffel Tower was built as an attraction in 1889 World's Fair. It was built to remember the centennial. What's the meaning of centennial? It means the first 100-year anniversary. It looks like a three-tiered metal tower. The fourth one is the Louvre Museum. It's the home of valuable art and artifacts from all over the world. There is now a branch in Abu Dhabi, UAE. It's a small one, but it has really a nice architecture. So if you have the chance to visit that place, you're going to find some of the artifacts and art that are also presented there in the Louvre Museum in France, in Paris. The Louvre Museum in Paris is a long building with a metal and glass pyramid in the front. Here's the glass pyramid on the front. This is the Louvre Museum. This one is the Palace of Versailles, and this one is the Arc of Triumph or the Victory. Eiffel Tower here, it's clear for everyone. And as they said, now it became like as the symbol of France. Whenever we hear like France, okay, we're going to imagine the Eiffel Tower. Let's see here, what do we have? Oh, the Cathedral of Notre Dame. We have also another one, which is the Cathedral of Notre Dame. It's famous for those, what? It's called what? Do you know what are these things called? Here, it's called buttresses. We're going to know everything about this way of architecture. This is called Gothic architecture. It's different type. Do you remember when we spoke about the Renaissance in architecture and art, and they started to use those the different columns. This is a way of architecture. This is another one. This one, it's a special one. It's called the Gothic architecture. Inshallah, in the coming class, we're going to know more about the building and the building of this cathedral and everything related to this special type of architecture. The Cathedral of Notre Dame. Notre Dame Cathedral, it's like a church, is considered an example of the medieval style of building known as Gothic. Gothic architecture was a later style of building that was known for being big and bold. It follows an earlier Romanesque style. Romanesque means like Romans because heavy stones and masonry were used similar to Roman architecture. Gothic and later medieval architecture was distinguished by the invention of flying buttresses. So those flying buttresses were like special and new to use when they started to build this. Why? Do you know why they use this flying buttresses? Because the ceiling is curved. So there, and also the it's not nowadays. Yes, we have a lot of like curved ceilings, but they are light. Like we don't feel afraid that they may fall down. But in the past, they were still using stones. Okay, and the use of stone vaulting. So the curves were made of stones. So they need something to what? To support this, not to fall down. So they used what? These flying buttresses to support the stone vaulting. The flying buttresses and vaulted ceiling enabled walls to be built much higher by being lighter. These elements allowed for windows to be placed along the walls to allow more light into the structure. We're going to see also that windows are so tall. So the light is going to enter, sunlight is going to enter the places more than any other buildings. The front of the cathedral is called facade, as in the face of the building. So it's the face of the building. The facade, or they pronounce it as, I think, facade. Yeah, facade is the main side of the building that faces you when you enter it. People living in Paris looked on in horror on April 15th, 2019, the previous year, when a fire at Notre Dame Cathedral destroyed its roof. Till now, they are what? Rebuilding and refixing this roof. Okay, now answer the questions. Name some characteristics of Gothic architecture. List at least three here. Let's write three characteristics. Let's use green. So we said, why it's like that? I have to change the color maybe. So I want it to be clear for you. Yeah, it's fine. Let me see if it's black so we can write easily here. Oh my god, it's not working. Okay, it's fine. Yeah, so mm, I have to fix this. Again, it's a green. Ah, it's fine. It's writing. Okay, so some characteristics of Gothic architecture. We said they used buttresses. You see it? Yeah, they use buttresses. What also they used? They used stone vaulted or curved. What's wrong with this? Let's see. Yeah, okay. Also, they used oh no, the windows are long, and we're going also to see more in the coming lesson, inshallah. What's the meaning of romantic? Romantic means like Romans. Why? Right? And why it was named so? It was named so because here, because they used what? They used heavy stones and masonry similar to Roman architecture. Which terms means the face of the structure? It says it's what? It's facade, the new word. What happened to Notre Dame Cathedral in 2019? Let's see what happened to it. Do you remember? a fire, a fire at Notre Dame Cathedral destroyed its roof. Yeah. So this is for today, and inshallah, next class we're going to write the answers here, and we're going to complete our lesson about the building of Notre Dame Cathedral. Thank you everyone for listening, and wish you all the best. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.